Homer, would you like to cut the cord?
My pleasure. What the? So tough you can't cut it. Why is it like... Why, you little...
For a guy whose entire personality is built on clean living...
Please, come you look lovely tonight.
Swell. And the house you've done...
and saying okily-dokily to everything, Ned Flanders has one of the wildest, most heartbreaking love lives in The Simpsons. And it all started with a t-shirt cannon. Before we dive into the chaos of widowhood, Vegas weddings, and Hollywood actresses, let's rewind to when Ned had it all figured out. Back in the early seasons, Ned Flanders was living the dream. He had Maude, his perfectly wholesome wife, who matched him in faith, modesty, and suburban sensibility. Together, they raised Rod and Todd in a home where every meal started with prayer, and the Bible was basically their instruction manual for life.
Really? Well, I do have a warm sense of well-being, and I seem to be slurring my speech. You're right. Give me another.
Homer, go easy on the alcohol. Remember last year?
Maude wasn't introduced until season 2, even though Ned had been Homer's neighbor since the very beginning. And when she finally showed up, her main purpose was simple: be perfect. She existed to remind Homer just how much his own life sucked in comparison. In The War of the Simpsons, season 2, episode 20, their marriage problems were so minor they made Homer and Marge's issues look like a Greek tragedy.
Impressive.
Yeah, after I stopped drinking, this was a way to stay close to my bottles.
Mom's boyfriend is good at detangling them. Well, maybe Mom...
Seriously, their biggest fight was about who underlined passages in the Bible, but occasionally cracks started to show. When Ned's dream business, the Leftorium, went under when Flanders failed, he lost everything: house, job, dignity. But Maude stayed calm and supportive the entire time, reassuring him they'd get through it together. Same thing in Hurricane Nettie, season 8, episode 8, when their house got completely obliterated by Hurricane Barbara, and she was already planning their comeback before the dust settled. Still, the writers began shifting her character over time. Maude became less of a loving partner and more of a stereotype. The overbearing...
Could you give me a handful of peanuts, Maude?
Oh, sure.
Not those peanuts.
Oh.
The ones at the bottom.
Judgmental church lady, spying on Marge and acting like Springfield's moral referee. Instead of being warm and supportive, she felt cold, distant, and rigid. And just when it looked like the show might give her some more depth, she was gone. On February 13th, 2000, in Alone Again, Naturadiddly, season 11, episode 14, Maude Flanders died in the most absurd, undignified way possible. At a Springfield Speedway race, Homer stood up and started waving his belly around, demanding free t-shirts from the promotional cannon. Maude had stepped away to get hot dogs, and when she returned...
Hey, Ralph, I heard you died.
I got cloned. All right, buddy. What's the hurry?
Homer ducked at the last second to pick up a bobby pin. The barrage of t-shirts knocked her clean off the top row of bleachers, sending her plummeting several stories to her death. Dr. Hibbert was at the race, but there was nothing he could do except pronounce her dead. That moment changed everything. It didn't just end a marriage, it cracked open Ned's entire identity. Because without Maude, Ned wasn't just a grieving husband. He was a man with no idea what came next.
Monkey. You're a little monkey, are you?
Yes, sir.
Bart, do that thing you do that's so cute.
What?
That thing you know how to do.
What?
About Christian widower cope with suddenly losing his wife. Apparently, by taking a trip to Las Vegas with Homer Simpson and waking up married to a cocktail waitress named Ginger. In Viva Ned Flanders, season 10, episode 10, Ned tries to prove he's not boring after everyone at Springfield mocks him for living a squeaky clean life. Turns out he's 60 years old and has never done anything fun, so Homer drags him to Vegas, where they gamble, drink, and eventually black out. When they wake up, they discover they're married to 2 cocktail waitresses, Ned to Ginger and Homer to Amber, women they don't even remember meeting. Ned's new wife, Ginger, is loud, flashy, and probably smells like perfume and cheap margaritas, basically the exact opposite of Maude. This wasn't some long-burning romance.
At night, they fight.
Just get me that rent or you'll be expelled.
You mean evicted?
Sloppy, chaotic, and completely unplanned. But that's exactly why it matters. For once, Ned wasn't following the rules. He wasn't praying or preaching or quoting Leviticus. He was rebelling, and that rebellious side was messy, confused, and heartbreaking. Later in Brawl in the Family, Season 13, Episode 7, Ginger actually returns, hoping to rekindle things with Ned. But it becomes painfully obvious they're not compatible. Ginger wants fun, freedom, maybe even a cigarette on the couch. Ned wants structure, God, and bedtime prayers. She gets so fed up with the Flanders' sickeningly sweet demeanor, Rod and Todd flushed her cigarettes down the toilet and refused to Irish up her coffee, that she bails and drives back to Vegas.
Tell you the wonderful present I just got. Dad, what a surprise! What's he doing here?
Didn't we just see him yesterday?
Maybe if we pretend we're tired, he'll go home.
But Ginger's return proved something important. Ned was still stuck between two worlds, the faithful, restrained man he used to be and this new, unstable version of himself, learning what grief, doubt, and loneliness really felt like. After the chaos of Vegas, Ned tries something harder than being single or being married, being honest with himself. Enter Rachel Jordan, the lead singer of a Christian rock band. She's warm, kind, and way more modern in her faith than Ned. They meet at church not long after Maude's death in that same episode, Alone Again, Naturadiddly, Season 11, Episode 14. Unlike Ginger, Rachel represents something real, something possible. She's compassionate, she listens, she's got faith, but it's a different kind of faith, less rigid and more human. At first, it feels like she might be the one to finally help Ned heal, but healing isn't linear. When Rachel visits Ned's home later in I'm Going to Praiseland, Season 12, Episode 19, things take a dark turn. Ned starts projecting Maude onto her. He insists she sleep on Maude's side of the bed, asks her to change her hairstyle, and then, in a moment that's equal parts sad and uncomfortable, he cuts Rachel's hair to look exactly like his dead wife. Understandably horrified, Rachel leaves. It's not about her, it's about Maude. Ned isn't ready, not even close. But what happens next is one of the most vulnerable arcs Ned ever gets. He finds Maude's old sketchbook containing her final dream to build a Christian amusement park called Praiseland. So he builds it in her honor. Every ride, every corner, a shrine to his grief and maybe his guilt. The park is a total disaster, of course, between weird Bible-themed rides and a gas leak causing hallucinations mistaken for miracles. The whole thing spirals out of control. But the point wasn't the park. The point was closure. At the end of the episode, Rachel comes back, not to rekindle romance, but to help Ned erase Maude's literal dent in the bed.
Happy birthday to you!
Say my name, you cowards!
I got you the one birthday present you can really use.
It's quiet, sad, but healing. Rachel Jordan never becomes Ned's long-term partner. She wasn't meant to be. She was there to show him that it's okay to grieve, that moving on doesn't mean forgetting, and that love isn't always about who comes next, but about who helps you carry the weight of what you've lost. Just when you think Ned might take things slow, he dives headfirst into his most unexpected relationship yet, with a Hollywood actress. In A Star is Born Again, Season 14, Episode 13, Ned finds himself without a date for a Springfield jellyfish festival. Instead of wallowing, he heads to the Leftorium to reorganize paperwork. Classic Ned move. But then fate steps in, or rather Sarah Sloane does. She's glamorous, famous, and way out of Ned's league. Think red carpets, film sets, and tabloid covers. Voiced by Marissa Tomei, Sarah is completely charmed by his awkward honesty, his polite manners, and yes, even his mustache. She asks him out, and Ned stammers, blushes, and somehow lands a date with a literal movie star. Things move fast, really fast. The two go out, fall for each other, and before you know it, they're making out on a hilltop overlooking Springfield. It's sweet, romantic, and completely surreal. But here's where it gets complicated. Sarah wants Ned to come to Hollywood with her, to leave behind his quiet, church-going life, and join her in the world of celebrities and premiere parties. At first, he's tempted. He even fantasizes about a new life in LA. But deep down, Ned knows he doesn't belong in that world. When Sarah shows up to a concert in a revealing red dress, Ned panics. They sleep together that night. Yes, that actually happened, but it only highlights how far Ned has strayed from who he used to be. The next morning, when Sarah asks him to marry her, Ned can't do it. He turns her down gently but firmly, and she walks away understanding but heartbroken.
Her face. I'm a shoo-in. Then the fateful day came.
Son, you got a letter from Ohio.
Sarah Sloane wasn't a joke or a mistake. She was Ned's first real attempt at dating again. Not just reacting to loss, but choosing someone new. She challenged him emotionally, sexually, and spiritually. And even though it didn't last, their relationship proved Ned could evolve. He could step into unfamiliar territory and come back stronger. After Sarah Sloane, you'd think Ned might slow down. But nope. Springfield's most eligible widower dives straight back into the dating pool and the water is freezing. First up, Lindsay Nagle in Alone Again, Naturadiddly, Season 11, Episode 14. Efficient, business-savvy, and emotionally unavailable, Lindsay treats dating like a PowerPoint presentation. She spends most of their date prioritizing her fax machine, literally strapped to her leg, over connecting with Ned. Sparks? None. Chemistry? Less than zero. Then there's Diane, who seems promising at first, but comes with two major red flags: deep, unresolved mommy issues and a disturbing level of attachment to her dog. When Ned realizes he's the third wheel in his own relationship, he bails. Gracefully, of course. These aren't just one-off jokes. These misfires say something deeper. Ned is completely out of sync with modern dating. He doesn't understand it, doesn't like it, and honestly, he's just not built for casual flings or quirky first date chaos. He wants connection, stability, someone to raise his kids with, not someone who brings emotional baggage and a pug in a stroller. There's even a moment where Ned briefly questions God for taking Maude in the first place. That's huge. For someone who built his entire identity on faith, suddenly wondering if it's all meaningless, that's rock bottom. It was bound to happen eventually. For years, Ned Flanders and Marge Simpson lived side by side, sharing fences and occasionally swapping casserole dishes. But somewhere along the way, something started to shift. Let's go back to A Streetcar Named Marge, Season 4, Episode 2.
My paper.
I know you changed your paper. I don't care about your grade. Where the hell is my nicotine gum?
My brother had it and he was hanging around the class pet.
Can I help you?
What are you doing here?
Your mother rented me your room.
What do you want? You know?
Yes.
Oh, son, forgive me. I'm so sorry.
What you did.
Marge lands the lead role in a community theater production, and who ends up playing her onstage husband? Yep, Ned. During rehearsals, there's a scene where Ned aggressively throws Marge onto a bed, fully in character, of course, but a little spark of tension flickers to life. Then we jump to Diatribe of a Mad Housewife, Season 15, Episode 10, and things get way less subtle. Marge writes a romantic novel featuring herself as the heroine, Homer as a selfish brute, and Flanders as the sensitive, idealized love interest named Stanley. Not symbolic, not implied. She literally writes a fantasy where she falls for Ned. Springfield takes notice. People start teasing Homer. Even Lisa points out the story is a little too specific, but the biggest red flag comes in The Devil Wears Nada. Season 21, Episode 5. Marge poses for a sexy calendar and ends up getting way more attention than expected. Meanwhile, Homer's too stressed at work to give her any affection. Enter Ned Flanders. He comes over for dinner. They're both alone.
Is that Grandpa?
No, but I found this guy who's willing to take his place.
I am Grandpapa.
I don't think anyone can replace our Grandpa.
They eat strawberries and cream. And just when things are about to cross the line, like really cross the line, Marge sees her wedding photo reflected in Ned's glasses and pulls back. What's fascinating is that Ned doesn't even push for it. He's just there. So after all the drama, the detours, the ghosts and the glitter, who was it? Who was Ned Flanders really meant to be with? Was it Maude, the original love of his life who matched him in faith and suburban sensibility? Or Rachel Jordan, the Christian rock singer who gently nudged him to face his grief? Maybe Sarah Sloane, the Hollywood actress who pushed him out of his comfort zone? Could it have been Marge, the neighbor who in another timeline might have been more? Here's the thing, Maude was Ned's past, his foundation. She represented who he used to be, stable, unquestioning, obedient. But after she died, Ned changed slowly and painfully. Marge was fantasy and timing, not a foundation for something real. Sarah was growth, Rachel was healing, Ginger was chaos, but none of them stayed. Only one woman challenged Ned, accepted him, and stuck around until life had other plans. Edna Krabappel. She didn't just accept Ned's flaws, she called them out. She didn't worship him, she challenged him. Instead of shrinking into a quiet, submissive role like Maude, Edna met Ned as an equal. With Edna, Ned grew as a partner, as a father, as a man. She helped him break out of the overly sanitized mold he'd been trapped in for decades. And in return, Ned gave her something she'd never really had: unconditional support and respect. That wasn't just love, that was balance. And that's why, out of all the relationships, flings, fantasies, and ghostly visits, Edna Krabappel was Ned's true soulmate. Not because they were perfect, but because they weren't. And in that imperfection, they found something real, something honest, something earned.
He froze himself because he was sick and there was no cure.
Are they working on one?
Oh, they found it, but don't tell him. This is way cheaper than a nursing home. And Homer, you're still a big disappointment because see you next Christmas. Dad may be a little immature, but I know he loves you, so you ought to give him a chance.
Oh, boys.
So what do you think? Did Ned peak with Edna, or is there someone else who could have been a better match? Was Marge really off limits? And what about that whole Ned marries everyone future? Canon or comedy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into Springfield's most complicated widower, smash that like button, share this video with your fellow Simpsons fans, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite animated characters. Because remember, even the holiest man in town can have a hell of a love life.